She said, come on. So I go back, I go back in her bedroom. So set my stuff down, and I'm looking at the door handle. It's turning. I say, homeboy, no, I don't get down like that.
I've never had a white mistress.
Never.
My mistresses have been black.
It's a white woman?
No, I haven't. But, and not because...
Wait, you've never had a white woman?
And
in life?
No.
Cat Williams said, I'm scared of snow bunnies. He prophesied Shannon Sharpe scandal. Cat Williams said a snow bunny can destroy you in 2 weekends.
DL Hughley just went straight at Shannon Sharpe, and he did not hold back. He's calling Shannon out for letting certain influences get in his head and even mess with his money, and people are paying close attention to what sparked all this. Before anyone brushes it off, a lot of folks are pointing straight to the latest Club Shay Shay episode that's going viral right now. After watching it, some are saying they understand exactly why DL had something to say, because Shannon's behavior in that interview has people talking heavy. So here's what went down. Former NBA star Michael Beasley sat down with Shannon for a deep conversation about his life and career. And if you know Beasley's story, you already know. It's one of those what could have been situations that still hits hard today. He came into the league with huge expectations, crazy talent, and a future that looked unstoppable. But things didn't play out the way many thought they would, which makes this interview even more intense to watch. Beasley wasn't just any player. He was the #2 overall pick, a guy many believed could have become a legend. But his story took a different turn, shaped by real-life struggles like poverty, family pressure, and deep personal loss that hit him hard. During the interview, things got emotional fast. Beasley opened up about his mom who passed away from cancer in 2018, and you could feel the pain in every word. He explained how she hid how serious her condition was to protect him and his siblings. And that left him dealing with a lot of anger and confusion. And this is where viewers started reacting heavily. As Beasley sat there, clearly emotional and breaking down, Shannon's response caught people off guard. When he asked, "So you was mad at your mom?" It didn't sit right with a lot of folks watching, especially given how raw the moment was. Then Beasley shared even more. He talked about losing his cousin James on the exact same day he had an NBA game. He was torn between showing up for his family and staying committed to his team after already missing games while caring for his mom. In the end, he chose to play, but his mind wasn't there at all. He even showed up in the wrong shorts, which just shows how heavy everything was weighing on him in that moment. Beasley was clearly grieving, and you could feel how heavy it all was for him in that moment, but what made it even harder to watch, according to many viewers, was how he described his own teammates laughing at him while he was going through it. That hit people hard. A lot of fans said the moment felt deeply emotional, and they expected more compassion during that conversation. Instead, some felt like the interview quickly moved on without really sitting in what Beasley had just shared, even as he was visibly upset. Then things escalated once the clip was posted online. The Club Shay Shay account shared a snippet, but instead of focusing on the emotional weight of the story, they highlighted a quote about LeBron James and Magic Johnson laughing. Without much context, that decision didn't sit well with viewers at all. As soon as that clip started circulating, social media lit up. People began criticizing Shannon, not just for the interview, but by bringing up other controversies and personal situations tied to his name. One viral post even called out what they saw as a lack of empathy in that moment, tying it into broader criticisms of his behavior. That reaction spread quickly, and it turned the conversation from just one interview into a much bigger debate about how these moments are handled in the spotlight. And the reactions didn't stop there. People were going all the way in online. One comment read, "I hate a stupid man, you older with no real advice, nothing to look up to, just reckless behavior." And that kind of energy was all over the timeline. Others said the clip of Michael Beasley breaking down during the interview was genuinely hard to watch, and it exposed what they feel is a lack of emotional awareness in moments like that. Another person wrote, "Shannon Sharpe doesn't live in the real world." And that comment started a whole different conversation. People began connecting this moment to past headlines involving Shannon's personal life, questioning his judgment and how he handles situations both on and off camera. Some critics are claiming he didn't learn from previous controversies, arguing that despite having success and a huge platform, he's still making questionable decisions. That's why they're now pushing back on him giving advice, saying it doesn't line up with how he moves. Then the discussion shifted again when a clip of DL Hughley on Vlad TV started going viral. During that interview, DL was asked directly about dating preferences, and he made it clear. He said he's never been with a white woman in his life. That statement added even more fuel to the conversation, because now people are comparing perspectives, lifestyles, and experiences. And it's turning into a much bigger debate than just one interview moment. DL broke it down by saying he never felt the need to chase validation outside of his own lane. He made it clear that, for him, his value as a black man was never tied to who he dates or trying to prove anything to anyone. That perspective is now getting compared to an older moment with Cat Williams, who sat on Club Shay Shay and gave Shannon a warning about the kind of situations that could come with certain relationships. Now people are connecting those dots and looking back at what Shannon has gone through publicly. There was that situation involving a woman with an OnlyFans, which led to a lot of headlines, legal talk, and eventually business fallout, including his departure from ESPN. That whole sequence is why critics are now revisiting D comments and saying he's speaking from a different mindset. From DL's point of view, he's basically saying he wouldn't have ended up in that position because he never sought that kind of external validation in the first place. And keep in mind, this tension between DL and Shannon didn't just start overnight. They've had back and forth moments for years, but things really escalated after Monique's appearance on Club Shay Shay, which added even more layers to their ongoing friction. That tension really blew up after Monique's appearance on Club Shay Shay. Not long after, DL went on his own platform and called Shannon out directly, and he didn't hold back at all. DL said Shannon presents himself like that wise uncle figure, but in his opinion, the content leans heavily on emotional stories for views. He even made a bold comparison, saying Shannon reminds him of Wendy Williams, someone known for building a platform around other people's personal moments. Now, to be fair, Wendy Williams is a major media figure, but she also faced criticism for how she handles sensitive topics. And that's exactly the point DL was trying to make. He believes Shannon is stepping into similar territory, just with a different style and delivery. Then the conversation shifts back to Shannon's personal controversies, which critics keep bringing up. DL's take is that these situations aren't random. He's suggesting they reflect patterns in judgment and decision-making that people have noticed before. Some online are even connecting it to past interviews, like when Shannon shared stories about being cautious in certain situations involving trust. That's why critics are now questioning how those lessons line up with more recent headlines. All of this is fueling a bigger narrative around accountability, awareness, and how public figures handle both their platforms and their personal lives. And right now, the debate is only getting louder as more clips, opinions, and reactions keep surfacing. And now the conversation is getting even bigger, because people aren't just focused on Shannon anymore. They're questioning the entire format of these interviews. A lot of viewers are starting to ask whether these platforms are really about understanding people, or if they're built to pull out the most emotional moments for clicks. Some are defending Shannon, saying he's simply giving guests space to tell their stories in their own way. They argue that not every interviewer is going to respond the same, and sometimes just letting someone talk is the approach, but others are pushing back hard. They're saying when someone is clearly breaking down, there has to be a level of awareness and care in how you guide that conversation. Otherwise, it starts to feel less like a conversation and more like content being created off someone's pain. That's why DL's comments are hitting so loud right now. He's not just calling out Shannon as a person, he's challenging the whole approach behind these viral interviews and what they prioritize. And with clips continuing to circulate and people picking sides, this isn't slowing down anytime soon. It's turning into a bigger debate about media, responsibility, and how far is too far when it comes to storytelling in the spotlight. And now you've got even more people jumping into the conversation, breaking down Shannon's interviewing style clip by clip. Some are pointing out that this isn't the first time a moment like this has happened on his platform, and they're starting to question whether it's a pattern rather than a one-off situation. Others are defending him, saying long-form interviews can get messy and emotional, and not every reaction is going to land perfectly in the moment. They argue that it's easy to critique after the fact, especially when short clips go viral without full context. But critics aren't letting up. They're saying context only goes so far when the emotional tone is right there on screen. To them, it's not about editing. It's about how the moment felt in real time and whether the response matched the situation. At the same time, DL's comments keep circulating, and every time they resurface, they bring a new wave of reactions. Some people see it as harsh but honest, while others think he's going too far and making it personal. Now the spotlight is fully locked on Shannon. How he responds next could either calm things down or take this to a whole new level. Because right now, every clip, every reaction, and every opinion is adding more fuel to a situation that's already on fire. And now it's turning into a wait-and-see moment because people are watching closely to see if Shannon actually responds. So far, he hasn't fully addressed the backlash head-on, and that silence is only making the conversation louder. Some believe he's going to clap back eventually, especially with how direct DL's comments were. Others think he might take a different route, address it subtly on his platform, or just move forward like nothing happened. Meanwhile, the Beasley interview keeps gaining traction. More viewers are going back to watch the full episode, forming their own opinions about what really went down in that moment. And depending on who you ask, the reactions are completely split. There are people saying Shannon dropped the ball and missed an important human moment. Then there are others saying the criticism is overblown and that not every emotional interview needs a dramatic response. But one thing is clear. This situation has gone way beyond just one clip. It's now about reputation, credibility, and how public figures handle real emotional conversations under pressure. And with DL continuing to stand on what he said and the internet refusing to let it go, this whole situation is still building. And it could shift again at any moment depending on what happens next. People are also bringing up Shannon's past controversies, saying he took major financial and public hits from those situations. And what's got critics talking is the idea that, despite everything, his behavior hasn't really changed. They point to moments where he's still speaking openly about his personal life in ways that keep putting him back in the spotlight. That's why, for some viewers, the reaction to the Michael Beasley interview didn't come as a shock. They're saying it lines up with a pattern they've already seen, where emotional awareness and reflection don't always show up the way people expect. From their perspective, when you sit across from someone sharing deep pain, they expect a certain level of understanding, especially from someone with life experience. And when that doesn't happen, it stands out even more. At the same time, others feel the criticism is going too far and that one moment shouldn't define everything. But regardless of which side people are on, the conversation around Shannon right now is louder than ever. What do you think about all this? Is Shannon being misunderstood, or are the critics onto something? And how did you feel watching that Michael Beasley interview? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's been following the story.